Once upon a time, the cast members of the all-county musical. I'm the narrator.
I'm Cinderella.
And I'm the witch.
And it's showtime!
What do you get when you combine the tremendous talent of high school students from all across Wicomico County and you throw them all onto one stage?
Ooh, I know the answer.
You know the answer?
You get an all-county musical, one the director is about to personally invite you to next weekend. That director is sitting with us this afternoon. This is Ken Johnson. He's also the theater arts teacher at Wicomico High School. Thanks for joining us this afternoon.
I'm glad to be here.
It's good to have you. So, what is an all-county?
Well, a couple of years ago, we decided that we wanted to do something with all the county high schools, because not all the county high schools have certified theater teachers.
Okay.
And they don't have the capability of doing a big musical. So we decided that we were going to invite students from all 4 county high schools to meet together to do one big one.
So I'm going to go out on a limb here, if you'll pardon the pun, and guess that you are doing Into the Woods.
Yes, we are doing Into the Woods.
Tell us about Into the Woods.
Into the Woods, actually, it's a Sondheim musical, and it's really interesting because it takes the storylines of a lot of your classic fairy tales like Jack and the Beanstalk, Cinderella, Little Red Riding Hood, throws them all together in the same village at the same time. They end up having to go into the woods and they meet each other, they kind of interact with each other into the woods, and then, you know, as their storylines progress, they all kind of get intermixed. The really cool part is at the end of Act 1 is Happily Ever After. So then Act 2 is actually what happens after you get your wishes.
Ah,
which is pretty cool.
Very interesting. Okay, so doing all this with all these students, did you have to overcome any obstacles in preparation?
It's a little tough. Normally when you have after-school practices, you'd have it right after school. But we have kids coming from Mardella, Parkside and Bennett. My home school is Y-High, and that's where our theater is, so we have practices at Y-High. So we have to push things a little later in the evening.
What have you seen as far as talent coming out of these kids?
Oh, some of these kids are amazing. I'm gonna start crying.
Aw.
Don't. No, that's good. No, these kids are, we had a huge group. Last year we had a huge group of like 6 seniors coming up this year that were really talented. And we were having a hard time finding a musical that would showcase all of these talented girls. They're mostly girls, I'm sorry guys. So Into the Woods was one. It's Sondheim, it's really tough musically, but it has so many cool parts that we were able to showcase a lot of our talented seniors. So
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Well, Into the Woods, I'm going to read your t-shirt here. It's happening April 22nd through the 24th at the Y-High Auditorium.
At Y-High Auditorium, yes.
All right. Ken Johnson, director of the Wicomico County All-County Musical, thank you. And we're going to get a preview of the show from the Mid-South Audio Stage. Get to see some of that talent.
Loving this.
All right. And that's where we'll find Katie.
Guys, we have 2 stars of the show here with us over on the Mid-South Audio Stage. We've got Grace, we've got Eli. We can't wait to show you what they got.
Lisa, as we heard before the break, another show you're going to want to see is the All-County Musical put on by high school students throughout Wicomico County, and we are here on the Mid-South Audio Stage with Grace Ashby and Eli Pekelny. You guys are in Into the Woods.
Yes.
And how do you feel about it?
It is very exciting. We're so happy to be back performing again.
And so first, Grace, tell me who you play and what your role is.
So I play Cinderella, and so Cinderella's whole thing is that she goes to the ball, she goes to the festival, and then she becomes a princess, which is so much different from her ordinary life back home.
And Eli, your role?
So I am the witch.
Oh.
And that kind of self-explanatory there. I'm kind of like in control of things.
Yeah.
But at the same time, kind of not towards the end of the show.
Yeah. And how did the 2 of you kind of get into acting?
Well, so I auditioned for the All-County Musical my freshman year, which was Mamma Mia. And so I have been doing that ever since. Obviously, we weren't able to have shows for the past 2 years, but, you know, when we knew that we were able to have one again this year, both of us were so excited to come back.
Eli, same thing? Similar?
Pretty much the same thing, yeah. We both started acting pretty young, and, you know, we're both very passionate about music and musical theater, so this is just one of our ways to express that passion.
And this is a treat for me, I'll be honest, because I love this show, Into the Woods. I've been singing it all day, you guys, because I just can't get enough.
Yes, he has.
So I'll stop the singing. I'll let you guys get to it. Grace, you're going to sing first, and then Eli, you'll sing later on. All right, let's get right to it, ladies and gentlemen. On the Steps of the Palace, from Grace.
He's a very smart prince. He's a prince who prepares, knowing this time I'd run from him. He spread pitch on the stairs. I was caught unawares, and I thought, well, he cares. This is more than just malice. Better stop and take stock while you're standing here stuck on the steps of the palace. You think, what do you want? You think, make a decision. Why not stay and be caught? You think, well, it's a thought. What would be his response? But then what if he knew who you were when you know that you're not what he thinks that he wants? And then what if you are what a prince would envision? Although how can you know who you are till you know what you want, what you don't? So then which do you pick? You're safe out of sight in yourself, but where everything's wrong, and where everything's right, and you know that you'll never belong. And whichever you pick, do it quick, 'cause you're starting to stick to the steps of the palace. It's your first big decision. The choice isn't easy to make. To arrive at a ball is exciting and all. Once you're there, though, it's scary. And it's fun to deceive when you know you can leave, but you have to be wary. There's a lot that's at stake, but you've stalled long enough, 'cause you're still standing stuck in the stuff on the steps. Better run along home and avoid the collision. Even though they don't care, you'd be better off there where there's nothing to choose, so there's nothing to lose. So you pry up your shoes, then from out of the blue, and without any guide, you know what your decision is, which is not to decide. You'll just leave him a clue. For example, a shoe, and then see what he'll do. Now it's he and not you who is stuck with a shoe in a stew, in the goo. And you've learned something too, something you never knew, on the steps of the palace.
How about we hear one more song from the students featured in the upcoming Wicomico County All-County Musical, You Have a Great Night.
This is the world I meant. Couldn't you listen? Couldn't you stay content, safe behind walls, as I could not? Now you know what's out there in the world. No one stays untainted by the world. Only I, who loved you as you were. Only I, who's frightened less of her than them. No matter what you say, children won't listen. No matter what you know, children refuse to learn. Guide them along the way, but still they won't listen. Children can only grow from someone you love to someone you lose.